Subject of a formula is what we're going to look at in this video. It's split into three parts. We're going to start off by looking at examples like this, involving addition and subtraction, then moving on to looking at examples with division, and then looking at examples that combine the two. So it is worth noting that there's two parts to this topic. This is the grade 3 version. There's also a grade 7 version, which will be called subject of a formula with harder examples. So the way my videos work, I'm going to do the example on the left, which is I do. You are then going to press pause and have a go at the example on the right, which is you do. So the first question here is asking us to make A the subject of this formula. So where is A? A is right there. So essentially, we want this to be A is equal to something. At the minute, C is the subject of this formula. So in order to get A on its own, we want to get rid of this B. Now to get rid of this B, because it's a plus B, we're going to do the opposite of plus. That's a minus. So we're going to subtract B from both sides of the equation. And that leaves us with A is equal to C minus B, because this and this cancel out. So plus B minus B cancels out. And on this side, you are left with C minus B. So hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at the example on the right. So in this case, we're looking for M. We want to get M on its own. It has got a plus N on this side. So we're going to get rid of the plus N. So we're going to do the opposite of plus N, minus N from both sides. And that means M is equal to R minus N. Moving on, so we've been asked to make D the subject of the formula, so D is right there. Now to get D on its own, we want to get rid of the C. So in order to get rid of the C, we're going to subtract the C from both sides, and that gives us D is equal to E minus C. It's also worth noting that you can write your answer as minus C plus E. These are both the same. It just looks a little bit tidier like this. So on the right, we've been asked to make J the subject. So we're going to get rid of the F and the F on both sides. So we have J is equal to N minus F. Moving on, we've been asked to make D the subject. So we want to get rid of the E. Now to get rid of the E, you do the opposite. So at the minute it's a minus E, so we can do plus E on both sides. So you end up with an answer of D is equal to F plus E. So again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at this example. So we want to get rid of the A here. And that becomes N is equal to B plus A. So moving on, now here you have to be a bit careful. We've been asked to make B the subject of the formula, however notice B is a negative. Okay, now to make our lives as easy as we can, what I recommend is moving the B to the other side in order to make it positive. So that's the first thing we're going to do, and we're doing this to make our lives easier. So we're going to add B to both sides, so we then end up with A is equal to C plus B. Now, we've not answered the question because the question asks us to make B the subject. At the minute, it's A, but now our life's a bit easier because now B is positive. So in order to make B the subject, we just need to get rid of the C. So I subtract C from both sides, and I end up with A minus C is equal to B. And you can also write this as B is equal to A minus C. It doesn't really matter. They're both the exact same thing. So looking over on the right, again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go. And the first thing you did, hopefully, was to make the N positive because it's negative here. So we're going to add N to both sides and move it over. So M is equal to R plus N. Now that N is negative, we'll just get rid of the R. And that gives us M minus R is equal to N. So we've been asked to make T the subject here. So we're going to move the P over. So it is a negative P this time. So we're going to add P on both sides. So that becomes T is equal to W plus P. Now again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at this. So we've been asked to make N the subject. Now notice, with N it is negative. So the first thing you want to do is move the N over to make it positive. So that becomes minus N. M is equal to R plus N. Now you want to get rid of the R to make N the subject of this formula. So to get rid of the R, we're just going to do subtract R on each side. So we end up with minus M minus R is equal to N. So here's some practice questions. Press pause and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. Now moving on, we've been asked to make A the subject here, but notice it's 3A. So essentially this invisible times sign in the middle. You can write this as 3 times A is equal to B. Now, in order to get rid of the 3, because it's 3 times, we're going to do the opposite. So the opposite of 3 times would be divide each side by 3. Now that gets rid of the 3. That then becomes A is equal to B divided by 3. We can just write that as a fraction. So that is our answer there. So again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at the example on the right. So we're going to divide each side by 4 to get rid of that 4 from the N because you want to make N the subject. And that is your answer there. So moving on, we've been asked to make A the subject of the formula here. So in order to make A the subject, we are going to get rid of the t because it's being times by t. We're going to divide each side by t. So you end up with a is equal to v over t. And again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at this. So we need to get rid of the r to make p the subject. So that becomes p is equal to m over r. Moving on, we've been asked to make a the subject, but it's being times by 5 and s. We can get rid of both of them in one go. We could just divide this side by 5s and this side by 5s. And that means a is equal to p over 5s. Okay, and on the right, we have been asked to make q the subject. So we need to get rid of 3p. They're being multiplied together, so we can just divide this side by 3p, this side by 3p, and you end up with q is equal to n over 3p. So moving on, we've been asked to make n the subject. N is currently being multiplied by m, so we want to do the opposite of that to get rid of it. So the opposite of multiply is divide each side by m, and the answer here becomes n is equal to a plus b over m. Notice that you can also write this like this. Okay, they're both the exact same. So on the right, we've been asked to make r the subject. Now r is being multiplied by t, so we're going to do the opposite on both sides, get rid of that. That becomes e plus f all over t. Moving on, now we've been asked to make s the subject, and the whole thing is minus 5as. So we're going to divide each side. Now careful here, we're going to divide each side by minus 5a, so we can get rid of the negative with that. So it's not being divided by 5a, it's being divided by negative 5a. And what that then means is s is equal to p over minus 5a. It means the negative has gone with it as well. So again here, w is being multiplied by minus 7r. So we're going to divide by minus 7r on each side. So we end up with w is equal to t over minus 7r. Okay, that minus stays with it. So here's some practice questions. Press pause and have a go. Here are the answers, mark your work. So moving on, we have make a the subject. So the easiest way to approach this question isn't to divide by 3. You can do that, but you'll make your life a little bit harder. I would start by getting rid of the b first. So if I get rid of the b first, we end up with 3a is equal to c minus b. Now you just divide each side by 3 to get rid of the 3, and you have your answer. So a is equal to c minus b all over 3. So again, on the right, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go. Now to make our lives as easy as possible, you want to get rid of the m first. So you get rid of the m. Now we want to get rid of the 4 from the n. And that's the final answer. So moving on, we've been asked to make a the subject here. Again, to make our lives as easy as possible, get rid of the v first. And now, the next step here, get rid of the t. And you end up with your final answer as a is equal to u minus v over t. So looking over on the right, again, to make your life as easy as possible, hopefully you started by getting rid of the k, and then you got rid of the m. Moving on, we've been asked to make z the subject of this formula. So again, to make my life as easy as possible, on this side we have z and we also have m. So let's get rid of the m first. So we have x plus y minus m is equal to 3z. Now let's divide each side by 3 to get rid of that 3. So we have x plus y minus m all over 3 is equal to z. So on the right, we've been asked to make b the subject of the formula. So in order to make b the subject of this formula, let's get rid of the d first. So that becomes c plus a minus d is equal to 4b. And then divide each side by 4 to get rid of the 4. And you end up with c plus a minus d all over 4 is equal to b. So moving on, we've been asked to make g the subject of the formula. Now notice here, it is a negative 2g, so just bear that in mind. Now you can move it over if you want to start with, but we can get rid of it when we divide by 2. So the way I'll do this is I'll first get rid of the e. So minus 2g is equal to 5b plus a. Now I'm going to divide each side by minus 2. That will get rid of the negative for me. And that becomes g is equal to 5b plus a, I forgot the minus e there, divided by minus 2, all at the bottom. So hopefully you've pressed pause and had a got the example on the right. Like I said, mentioned earlier, there are a few different ways to solve these, but I'm trying to go with the way that I think is the easiest for us. So here I will get rid of the c on both sides. So if I get rid of the c here, that becomes 4b plus g minus c. Now I will just divide each side by -3 to get rid of the negative as well. And that leaves me with a is equal to 4b plus g minus c all over 3. So again, here's some practice questions for you to have a go at. Press pause and have a go. Here are the answers, mark your work. Now, if you would like some more practice on this, I've got a full worksheet on this on my website linked down in the comments below. And if you found this video useful, I've got loads of other content like this on my channel. Do check it out.